Hello, Captains. It's me, TONIK TZW, here in the Tier 7 Premium Japanese cruiser, the Suzuya. And I've called this one SOS, Same Old Ships, because what would the team do without me? Now, I'm not going to say I'm the best player in cruisers. I'm certainly not. But what I wanted to test was, I think it's ARP Haguro, isn't it? Because this girl is probably as close as we're going to get if you don't have the Targo commander. So it's not quite as good as a Targo, but it is somewhere nearby. Now, she gives us extra HE pen, and I'm stacking that up with some extra HE damage. So I think I've got around an extra 10%. And if you look at my stats there, it's showing that my HE damage is almost the same as my maximum AP damage. So that seems to be quite hefty. But what I will say is don't always take those numbers for granted. That is the absolute maximum that RNG can give you as far as your damage goes. And if you watch the numbers of the damage that we do on ships, you'll see that it is often the case that it is much, much lower. Obviously, it depends on the ship that you're shooting at, it depends on where you're hitting that ship, and it depends how much armor they have where you are hitting them to decide how much penetration and how much damage you're going to get. Now, the Dutch cruisers are in the game, and one of the things that people hate about cruisers is people who hide behind islands and spam HE. And that is exactly what we're going to do in here. And there's going to be an Iowa in this game who I'm sure was cursing me for every single salvo that I put his way. Now, the guys there have screened. We've seen two cruisers and a battleship tracking across this way, and one of those cruisers is moving quite fast. Florida is asking for my help, and I give him an affirmative. So even though I am all the way out here, you'll see that what I'm doing is I'm placing my detection ring just on the edge of that large island so that if anything is more detectable than me, that I will spot it and those guys will see where it is. My torpedoes are also screening that corner, but it looks like we have completely missed the Charlemagne, but we do get him spotted, and we're going to go HE here, and we're going to stay on HE for pretty much the entire game. We're going to get spotted, but that Charlemagne takes an absolute clunking, I think, off the Florida, and then takes two torpedoes for first blood, and that is 2.5 minutes into the game. And then we've got the P-bag ration there. And the one thing I will say about the Suzuya shells is that they are very, very floaty. And if somebody is playing an agile cruiser, it can be very hard to hit them. But we are getting hits, and that is a good thing. And the numbers there that were popping up were in the region of 1900. We missed with that salvo, and it was almost 3,000 maximum damage that it said we would get off these. We're not going to be doing anywhere near that. But we are keeping the pressure on to that P-bag because he's damage controlled fires, so he can't risk getting any more. But he does indeed. We tick up our first 30,000 damage. That gives us, I think I've got reduced reload on this one. It's only 2% for the 30,000. But this Iowa now is pushing in, and I am screened because those two ships out in front of me have got these guys spotted. So here we go. Looking for some numbers. Looks like 991 there, so around 900 out of a maximum of 3,000. We are obviously dropping through the superstructure. A couple of 1400s there, so around 50% of the overall maximum damage. But we're looking for fires here because the fires are going to do the damage. We get a kill assist on the P-bag, and now we are going to switch our attention back to this Iowa. The Iowa is playing smart though. He knows who the risk is to him that he can see anyway, and that's the cruiser, which is why he's turning to avoid torpedoes, and he is absolutely going to slap that Zara off the map. So now I'm thinking, okay, the Iowa is pushing hard. There's a good chance that this Florida is going to disappear. So fires are going to tick this guy down. He has damage control now. Let's have a look at the hits. We get one hit, three shatters there. We're going to screen with torpedoes across the side of the island just in case he does decide to push. The Florida is using his speed to get around the Iowa. So the Iowa's guns were to the left. He's now got to traverse, sorry, they were to the right. He's now got to traverse them all the way to the left to try and get onto that Florida. But he's turning his ship. It is often easier to turn your ship rather than just wait for your turrets to turn. As long as you're not obviously giving up a full broadside. But we have got another fire there. We're waiting for the gun sight to clear the top of the hill. But the Massachusetts picks up a cheap kill there. Massachusetts is the guy that's tucked in between the islands, just to the south side there, between the two big islands. So great job for him in picking up a kill. We're on 79,000 damage, and even though we could push this flank now, we are quite a way back, and it would take a long time to get up to A cap. And you know, I always play with one eye on the minimap, and I say, you know, look, we're gonna have to defend the base, but this side of the map and the center of the map is open. We've got two battleships there who are close enough to be able to get onto red team's home cap and start capping and reducing the number of points that they are gaining in this game. Just having a ship on that cap will stop them accumulating points and slowly bring the game into our favor. And I'm looking at what has gone on the other side of the map. We've lost three ships from this side. We've lost one ship from that side, but we do lose our carrier because even though most carriers sit at the back of the map, he has been pushed hard, and he's pushed in so hard that he put himself in a position that he was unable to get out of. There are better places for carriers on the map. I don't play carriers myself, but I certainly would not have put my carrier there because I know that it is very, very likely that red team will push down the left flank hard. There are a lot of islands for cover. If you get a couple of strong ships that can tank some damage coming down there, um, you're not going to hold that flank. We have got one battleship. I want to say it's a Heinrich, but we'll see in a minute. There he is. What is it now? It's a Zeton. I was close. That was the right line of ships, just the wrong tier. Colorado there, slightly out of range. I think, yep, the Massachusetts picks him up as well. And I was thinking, okay, we're bringing the numbers back kind of to our favor, but we are slightly behind. Only 10 points behind, but we now have a battleship on red team's home cap, and that is going to stop them accumulating points and slowly tick it back in our favor. Now, this Bismarck, I'm looking and I'm thinking, what can I do here? And then the Picardy appears. We know there's also an anchorage in that smoke screen, and red team still have their carrier. So I'm just going to zone top out here, and I'm going to turn and kite away a little bit. I want to get my guns to the other side and screen our base with some more torpedoes because we know we've got at least the Picardy, we've got the Bismarck. It looks like red team's carrier is under pressure. So as I said, I'm not doing everything in this game to win it for the team, but what I am doing is playing smart and playing sensible to try and give our team the best opportunity. Here comes the Bismarck, and our battleship here is going to get himself into a bit of a brawl. I am going to try and stay out of secondary range of this Bismarck, and hopefully we might get lucky and land a torpedo, but it looks like he's seen those coming, and so we are going to have to switch back to our guns and try and get some fires on this guy because we know that this battleship here has got good secondaries. The Bismarck has got long-range secondaries. They're getting into a bit of a brawl, but if we can get some fires going as well, then that means he's much less likely to be able to damage control. There we go. Another fire on. That one looks like it's ticking, and I want to open up a little bit of range here as we get another fire. So that's a double. If he's running fight fire with fire, it's obviously going to reduce the overall amount of damage that he is taking, but we're going to keep the pressure on this guy. Numbers there, we're looking anywhere from 500 up to around 900 there, but we're slowly ticking up the damage with these fires. He's outrun the torpedoes. I thought he might turn in front of this island, but it now looks like he's going to try and run behind it. But this is a war of attrition in this case, and it's still not guaranteed that we are going to get the win. I did ask to see if the Massachusetts would push in onto the cap. Two ships on that cap would obviously take it a lot quicker. We could potentially have taken the cap by now, but we are going to lose that guy. I think he goes out here to the Picardy, and so we know that the Picardy is still in the general area. We're on 100,000 damage, one kill, three assists. We did get the first blood with that really unfortunate cruiser that turned into our torpedoes. I felt good for that. It was a nice little zone torp across the corner of the island. And yes, I did get a little bit lucky. We do have a very slight advantage here. There are 3.5 minutes left in the game. Had both battleships gone onto the cap, I think it would have given us a much better chance of taking their base, and those guys could have supported each other and gotten rid of the carrier a little bit quicker, which would have left me to defend our cap against the anchorage and the Picardy. And I think that's something that I could have done single-handedly had both ships come onto the cap. So here we go. We're going to look at what the range is for our torpedoes against the island. We fire our guns. We're going to see A, if we're detected, and B, if we can draw some fire. So there we go. The Picardy is going for a full broadside. So we are going to turn, put some torpedoes out, and then kite away from this guy because we haven't lost a single hit point yet. We have now, though, but I think to do that, to get this far through the game and still have all of our hit points was quite an achievement, given how little I play cruisers. And although I do like to play the Marblehead every now and then for my tier 4 premiums, and this Picardy is actually quite stealthy, and so I'm having to play a little bit closer than I want to. But I just want to keep baiting him into shooting at me because that way I can see where he is. And even if he gets onto our capture point, I can keep him reset. The anchorage has pushed all the way back to try and defend their cap. Now, even if the anchorage was to take out this battleship, I do believe that we would still have the advantage as the Picardy takes a torpedo and the battleship that is there on their home cap takes out the anchorage. It was a Borodino there, so GG's to the Borodino for getting through onto that cap, because I think that would have still have given us the win if this did not happen, because we get a fire on the Picardy, and that should be a stick and tick, which it is, and he goes out of the game. I say he or she. 124,000 damage, 3 assists, 2 kills. We get air cap defend. We played in the right place at the right time there, and Shiny Sapphire there in the Picardy would have been on for a cracking if they had been able to kill me. So there is a little demonstration of my way of playing the Suzuya with that new commander. So the maximum numbers there on the HE damage don't really seem to stack up. I didn't see many of the big numbers. I'm going to give it another roll with a different commander and see how that one pans out. I hope you've enjoyed this little video. I think it played out quite well in sealing a win for blue team. So don't forget to smash the like button. Leave me the comment. Let me know your build for Suzuya, and I'll maybe give it a go. Subscribe if you haven't. And as always, until next time, take care of yourselves and goodbye.